back to my channel and welcome again to another painting tutorial. If you're new to my channel, hello and welcome, and I hope you enjoy my painting videos. So today I'll be doing another landscape painting, but this time it will be really different because we'll be doing mountains. You know what, I seldom do mountain paintings or mountainous scenes. So today we'll be doing mountains, so get your palette knives ready because we'll be using those, and we'll be doing a little road on the foot of the mountain, if that makes sense. All right, so let's begin this painting tutorial now. So if you know me, or if you've been watching my recent videos, I've been recycling my old paintings. I've been painting over them to create new paintings on the canvas. So here's one. As you can see, it's a painted over canvas. So let's begin now. I'm gonna sketch first the subject so that you have an idea of where things are gonna go. And for the sketch, I'll just be getting my, oh, by the way, I haven't told you the colors that we'll be using for today's painting. So we have here lemon yellow. I think I got a lot. Lemon yellow or mid yellow. We have black, titanium white, burnt sienna, and sap green. So for the sketch, I'm just gonna get my sap green, and I'm just gonna show you how things are gonna go. So there will be mountain here. All right, like that. And then we'll be doing a road. So we'll be doing perspective as well. Like that. Okay, and then there will be distant mountains. So there will be a slight cliff right here. Okay. And there will be distant mountains, which I'm so excited about to do because I haven't really done mountains. I seldom do mountains. I mean, if you've seen a lot of my paintings, you will notice that I don't paint mountains. I seldom do, but I do love painting rocks. So there's another distant mountain right there. Okay, and we will be doing some texture. So it will be really rough. Like the texture should appear rough because of the natural patterns of the mountain. All right, so that's basically it. All right, so this will be the path or the road. So I'm gonna underpaint first the road, I think. So let's get our white, titanium white. The green is mixing, but I don't mind. I'm gonna add black to make it gray, because when we add black, it kind of disappears. So this will be the color. Just get your gray, and then I'm gonna underpaint the road. I keep telling you guys that when we're underpainting, we're not really aiming for the right color at this stage, because we're trying to do some undertone and shadows. Underpainting is like raw painting. Does not give any details. It only talks about the color. Okay, I will make a little adjustment like that. Okay. Because I feel like it's too narrow. Okay, now this is what I'm most excited about, doing the mountains. So for the mountains, I'm gonna underpaint it first, and I'm gonna get my larger brush just to get things done quite quickly. All right, so I'm gonna get my black, get your black, burnt sienna. Okay, and get your green. You don't have to blend them well, but make sure that you just have those three colors on your paintbrush. I mean, you could have used simply just black, but I kind of want to add those three colors in one stroke. So again, just underpaint first. Enjoy the looseness of the underpainting or the underpainting process. All right. Okay, we're still underpainting. All right, like that. And I'm gonna use a lighter version of this here. So I'm gonna add yellow to the mixture. Just add yellow and maybe black. It's a little lighter. You probably can't see the difference, but it's quite lighter in shade. Like this. And I think I'm gonna use the same color right here on the next mountain or hill. I think this is more it's not really mountain, but it's kind of in between mountain and a hill. It's not too low, but it's not too high or too big to be called a mountain. The mountains are here on the distant part of the painting. All right, like that. And then I'm gonna get the same color. Okay, I'm gonna add black. I'm gonna add white. I'm gonna make it look more pastel-y since we will be doing next the distant rocks and mountains. So for this, I'm just gonna go and freely do the underpainting right here using the dark colors. As you can see here, I'm going really random when it comes to brush strokes because I want to start already the texture process. I'm gonna get my white. Without washing your brush, get your white, add burnt sienna like this, so it's like creamy browny color. Add black, and let's do some distant mountains. We'll be doing some clouds as well, which I'm so excited about because I love painting clouds. When I'm painting clouds, I feel like I am painting the sea. I don't know if that's only me, but like doing sea foams, it's the same thing. Only that you're placing them on a different location of the painting. One you paint on the sky, the other one you paint on the waters. But for me, I'm not saying for everyone, it feels like I'm doing the same thing. Okay, I'm gonna get my green and yellow mixed together. So it's like yellow greeny color, and without washing my brush, I'm allowing the other colors on my paintbrush to mute the yellowness of the color. And I'm gonna use this to create again, I think this is too yellow green in fact. I'm gonna add tiny bit of burnt sienna or black. All right, and I'm just gonna create more texture. Like this. Okay, I'm gonna get the dark greeny color just to add more texture right here. I added yellow. All right, like that. Okay. So I'm gonna get my dark green again just to finish this area. I'm just filling in the spaces that were left unpainted. So just make sure that you don't have a lot of space going on. So like this area, I'm just gonna darken it. Okay, I'm starting to create a little bit of texture here and there. All right, and then we have still here distant mountains. So wash your brush out, and we'll be doing darker gray color. So get your white and then your black. Okay, and then let's do a little bit of dark mountain or gray colored mountains. Again, some of these areas will be covered later with clouds, so don't worry too much if you think everything is like weird at the moment. They should appear weird now, but not later. All right, like that. Okay, I think this is good. Just gonna finish again. Just don't leave spaces. Okay, like that. Okay, now we're going to do more detailing. So get a cleaner brush. Get your sap green. Okay, mix with yellow. Mix with burnt sienna. Okay, and then we're going to start creating details on the mountain. I told you guys to get your palette knives ready during the intro of this video, right? So get ready with your palette knives. We'll be using that later. We'll be using that soon, actually. I'm gonna add more yellow and burnt sienna. And look at how raw I do the markings. That's because I want to suggest already how natural this area is. It's not the concrete part of this painting, or the of this painting. This is the cliff where it's not really what do you call that? It's not really man-made. Okay. I'm gonna add a little bit of dry brushing right here. I'm gonna get my dark green. Let's separate, okay. Let's separate this mountain from the distant ones. I want you to get your cerulean blue, mixed with white. Okay, cerulean blue plus white, because we haven't done the sky. Let's do the sky so that it makes sense already. We've underpainted the foreground and the background, but not the sky. All right. Okay. So that's definitely better. So now we're going to add more details, which I'm so excited about. I always say that. Okay. Now that we've completely underpainted the canvas, let's move on and get your palette knife. So for my palette knife, I'm just gonna use my ordinary palette knife. Um, I'm checking if I still have other palette knives that I can use. Yeah, I think I do have, but this is my favorite palette knife, by the way. So I'm just gonna use, right, maybe I'm just gonna use a cleaner palette knife. So this one has thin accumulation of dried acrylics. This one is really, really thick. Like, look at how thick the acrylic paint is on it. But I'm just gonna use this one. It's cleaner, it's more flat. So I'm just gonna use this to create texture and patterns on the mountains. So for that, I'll be using my mid yellow, mix it with a greeny color. I'm gonna add burnt sienna to tone the color down. Let's start creating some details. So just glide your palette knives like this. Okay, and even here. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna add white to the existing color that we have here, because we'll be using this color to the distant mountains. Oops, sorry guys. I did not tape my canvas today, so it will move. So I'll be using my hand directly on the canvas to fix some areas if I have to. Okay, I'm gonna lighten this area. Like that. Okay, now I'm gonna get my ordinary brush. I'm gonna get my gray and go back to certain areas. So I'm just using gray, so just for you to see how gray it is. So this gray color, I'm just gonna go and go back to those areas that got super painted because of the spontaneity of the palette knife. All right. All right, like this. Get your black. Just outline the road so that it is separated from the mountains. It's like that. And you're gonna do the same thing right here. All right, like that. Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit of details. Here, okay. Using dark color or black. I'm starting to create texture. Also here. Okay, like that. Okay. All right. Okay, I'm gonna get my brown. So get your burnt sienna plus white. It's like this. I'm gonna add black. And I'm gonna use this, that's too light. Okay, I'm gonna add black and brown. I'm gonna use this color, yeah, that's right, to create some suggestion of soil on the mountains. Also here, it's not just yellow and green because it's just unnatural to have that color in nature, or just having those colors in pure form. It just looks unnatural, right? So there should be some sort of brown colors. Okay. All right, like that. I'm gonna get my yellow and mix that with the brown. So I'm adding some natural colors here and there. Okay. And here. Okay, now I'm gonna get my green, sap green. Okay, I'm gonna use that to create suggestion of grasses. Alright, like that. Okay, I'm gonna get my black. We're just going to create some depth. Alright, and now I'm gonna get my palette knife. I'm gonna dab onto the yellow brown. I'm gonna start creating some patterns. Okay, I'm gonna get my burnt sienna. Also here. Okay, sorry guys, my canvas is moving. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm gonna get my brown, burnt sienna plus white. And then tiny bit of black. I'm gonna use this light brown to, okay, I'm gonna add more white. Create some highlights from the distance. this. Okay, I'm gonna add more white. Okay, more white. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get my yellow greeny color, light yellow green that we use for the distant mountains. So let's create more intentional patterns. Right, and I'm gonna use a smaller brush. So get your black and add some little details. All right, and also here. All right. Okay, we'll be adding more details. Okay, later. Let's just allow the paint to dry. Let's move back to this part of the painting, which is the road. So I'm just gonna turn on the light, guys, because it's quite dark, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna get my light gray. Again, get your white plus gray. So it's lighter than this one. And okay, not that light. I need more white. So I'm gonna get more white. So I'm gonna get light gray. Again, I'm just adding white to the already existing gray that I have here. And I'm gonna use that to highlight the most distant part of the road. I'm gonna get my pure white. All right, like that. I just added some highlights. Okay, and using pure white again, let's create a suggestion of, what do you call this on the road? That, I don't know. Actually, it looks a little weird. I'm just gonna delete that. It looks a little weird. I think my line is a little bit off. So I'm just gonna delete that. Let's do that part later, that white line in the middle of the road. So I'm gonna get my black. Okay, I just darkened the mid section of that road. Okay. Okay. Now that I think this part is already dry, okay, we're just going to make we're going to make some clouds already. Let's just correct the sky. Okay, now we'll be doing some clouds. So for the clouds, I'm just gonna get my existing cerulean blue. I'm gonna add white and black to tone the color. We don't want super blue right at the moment. We don't want super blue color at the moment or super white at the moment. So I'm using white, blue, and black mixture. And we're gonna dry brush and create some clouds. Okay, that's too gray. So it's like this color for now. So just rotate your brush to create some clouds. So you see some of the portion of the mountains will be covered. So when we see clouds on a landscape painting, when they are touching the foreground or the mountain, it only means that the scenery is quite big and the mountains are quite high or tall mountains. I'm adding more white. Okay, and here I'm just gonna dry brush to suggest clouds and fog as well. We have a lot of things to correct here, especially on the foreground. I'll be obsessing over the foreground later. For now, let's just do the clouds. Okay, I'm going to suggest a little bit of clouds from the distant portion of this painting. And then using this white that we've been using for dry brushing, I'm just gonna go and glaze. No, not glaze, but dry brush over some areas on the more distant mountain. This is not the most distant mountain or rocks. It's like the second most distant, to create more perspective. Also here. And using my yellow mixed with the existing white color, I'm gonna add a little bit of detailing here and there. Okay. I'm gonna get my Sap Green and mix that with the grayish white that we have here. And kind of highlight as well. Some areas. You know, the light keeps on changing because earlier it was cloudy and then it was sunny and then it was cloudy again. So the light keeps on changing. Okay, I'm gonna get my pure Sap Green. Okay, I'm gonna get my black. Okay, again, just Sap Green plus brown. Okay, now I'm gonna add white to that to highlight the foreground mountain or hill. So I'm just gonna use the tip of my brush so that I highlight and make texture all at the same time. Okay. So I'm going for greens and yellows. And then I'll be getting my browns. Okay. And here, more yellows. And also on the foot of the hill. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna create some highlights. All right, like that. Okay, I'm gonna create more clouds. So get your white. I'm just gonna create some more. All right. Okay, using the white color, I'm gonna glaze the mountain. To add more perspective, okay? And also this area. And this area. Right, like that. Okay. Now let's create that line on the road. All right, like that. Okay, I like it better than what I did earlier. Okay, now using this white again, let's highlight some areas. Okay. I'm gonna get my black. Just try to outline the distant mountains. Okay, I'm gonna create some plants. Suggestion of plants. Right, and here. Okay, again, just black. I'm trying to create more details on the rocks of the mountains. Okay. Okay, get your white. More perspective. Right here. Okay, like that. And then some brownie colors. Just on the foot of the mountain or the hill. Right, like that. Now I'm gonna get my palette knife because I really want to create that texture. So I'm gonna use the back of my palette knife, gonna dab onto my green and brown, maybe yellow as well. And using the back of my palette knife, I'm just gonna create a little bit of detail. You don't need to go back and forth using your palette knife. Just one stroke like that. I think that's fine. Like that. Then here as well. I'm gonna use black on this side. All right, like that. Okay, we're starting to create texture, right? But I'll be adding more light play and clouds. I think I need more clouds. So I'm gonna get a larger brush for that. So I'm gonna get a larger brush, just sketcher brush. All right, I think this is a clearer size 12. All right, it says here size 12. So yeah, for the benefit of those who want to know what size of the brush is used, just use size 12 or use a bigger brush. And I'm gonna use that to dry brush even more and create cloud-like brush strokes. Again, we're dry brushing here. I'm not using water. I'm just allowing the paint to create the texture for me. Of course, when you move your brush, you kind of have some, you need to have some sort of intention. And also here. All right, like that. And using my yellow, I'm just gonna highlight this part. Okay. And also highlight the lowest portion of this hill, you know, near the road. Just highlight. I'm gonna use my white. So I'm gonna use my white. I'm gonna get my blue, a little bit of cerulean blue, and I'm gonna dry brush along the road. Like So I kind of like the pattern that it created by dry brushing it. And I'm gonna use the same color to dry brush again on the distant mountains. Okay, I'm gonna get my Sap Green plus yellow or mid yellow. Again, I'm just gonna dry brush. I'm just enjoying dry brushing. Like this. Okay, here. Just apply that color here and there. Okay, I'm gonna get my black, and in the same manner, I'm just gonna dry brush. All right. I really want to add more details. So again, I'm just gonna use a big brush to create more clouds because I'm just obsessed with the cloud making. I'm gonna dab onto my white. Again, we're dry brushing. And we're creating suggestion of clouds, small clouds from the distance. Okay. I'm gonna get my white and get some water. I'm just gonna spread some white color over the distant portion of the painting. We're not painting over, we're just glazing. Okay, and also here, just highlight the foreground or this hill. And also here, I'm just using white. Dabs of white here and there to emphasize or to suggest light. Again, white and gray. Some hints of brown to suggest more natural look. Alright, like that. Okay, I'm gonna get my black again just to outline this hill. Also here, also this. and also this. I'm gonna add hints of dark colors on the soil. Okay, and I'm gonna get my white and gray to suggest more rocks and unevenness in the background. I hope you can still see the painting. Okay, I'm gonna use more black. Okay, I'm gonna use a little bit of gray. And then sap green. Gray. Okay, I'm just gonna allow this area to dry and I'm gonna glaze it again with white. Or maybe it's okay now. I'm just gonna glaze it. Okay, I'm gonna get my yellow and I'm gonna highlight a little bit of this area. Okay, I'm gonna get my white. Again, just highlight this area. Also here. Okay, I'm just gonna turn on the lights again so that I can see the painting even more. I'm gonna get my sap green and I'm gonna use that to glaze the foreground hill. that. Gonna get more white. I'm gonna mix yellow and white. To add more perspective. Okay, now I think I'm gonna use again my white. And water, and I'm just gonna use that to glaze that part of the painting that is the most distant. To make it look like it's sunny and it's distant. Right. Okay. Okay, now let's go back to the road. Okay, let's add that. And white. Okay. More clouds right here. Okay, I think I need more yellow. We're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Just try to highlight even more some areas. Like that. Okay, and then some burnt sienna. To give it a touch of brown. Like this. Let me check. All right. Wow. This is nice, right? Okay, I'm gonna get my Sap Green. I'm gonna dab on a little bit of detailing of dark Sap Green. So just add black or brown to your sap and add this little bit of roughness, especially on the foreground. Okay, so now I'm gonna add a little more detailing on the mountains because I feel like the mountains are like bald. So I'm gonna add some plants to suggest greeneries that are more dimensional because this is just too flat for my liking. So I'm gonna correct as well the road that we did. So let's continue detailing the hills. So for that, I'll be getting my green and yellow. So just mix your green and yellow to create the yellow greeny color. Add brown to meet the color. And let's create like some grasses. Okay. Just make this area quite uneven. Okay, I'm gonna get my brown. To add some soil-like or rock-like appearance, I'm gonna get my white. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna get my black. Okay, I'm gonna get my white. To add more unevenness. I will be doing some light play later. For now, let's just focus on making the foreground quite uneven. I don't want it too flat. Okay, some suggestion of grasses again. Okay, and then some yellow as well to create some highlights. So the more you layer on this side of the painting, the more you create that texture that you see in nature, and that is the unevenness of the rocks and the mountains or the hills, because nature is like that. It's uneven, it's random, it's not symmetrical at all. Okay, I'm gonna get my brown and white to create that brownie texture, or brownie color, not texture. So I'm gonna make this as uneven as much as I want. And I'm gonna go even down here. Alright, like that. So you see the difference? Like when it did not have that texture earlier, now it has that texture. And I'm gonna do the same thing on some areas, on the more distant mountains or hills. So I'm gonna add dab some brown here and there. Okay, I'm gonna get my green again. Alright, like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing right here. You know what? I've signed it already, but I had to edit the video. I mean, I added a portion of the filming because I realized that I need to add more to the painting. That's why you can see that it's signed already. You may not notice it on the video because I cut it. So this is just a continuation after signing and then after realizing that I needed to add more details. Alright, like that. Okay, now I told you guys that I'll be correcting the road or the pathway here. It's not a pathway, it's a road. So I'm gonna get my gray, the one that we used earlier when we did the road. So just get your gray, mix your black and white, and let's correct the road. It's looking weird to me. You know, after signing the painting, I've realized my mistakes. So, yep, this is much better. Right. Okay, I'm just gonna delete this. Okay, like that. I'm gonna get my black. Alright, like that. Okay. Wash your brush out. Okay, I like this better. Okay, now I'm gonna get my pure white. Just like what we did earlier when we were doing the road. So just outline the road using pure white. Okay, like that. So the light will be coming from the left side. So I'll be adding some sun rays. So to do that, I'm gonna get my white. Disregard the other colors because they're dried acrylics. I'm gonna get my white and then my yellow, lemon yellow. Just a tiny bit of that color. And I'm gonna dry brush diagonally towards this direction. So I'm gonna move my brush like this. All right, like that. So always remember to highlight that portion where the sun is hitting. Okay, if other colors are mixing, it's all right. You can simply paint over that. Okay, like that. So I'm gonna get my white. just like that. Okay, and then make this a little brighter because this is the light source. Okay, now using white, let's dry brush along this area. Okay, and maybe here, even on the road. Okay, using yellow plus white, this is the time that we can highlight the distant mountains using yellow. Okay, and even here, you can even add highlights right here. And of course, the foreground. Highlight that, and also here. Let me check. All right. Okay, I'm gonna get some gray color and let's create some depths and indentations on the distant mountains. Like that. Okay, now I'm gonna get a cleaner brush and I'm gonna dab onto my white again, and let's go back to the clouds. Right, like that. And I'm gonna glaze again the road since it's being hit by the light. Okay, now since we're doing the light, we should also do some contrast, which is darkness. So I'm gonna get my black. Okay, and use a lot of water, and I'm just gonna darken some areas on the foreground because it's not being hit by the light, so it should be a little darker than those areas where the sun is hitting. Okay, only on some areas. And then using a lot of water, I'm just gonna go and highlight the this part of the road. All right, this is so much better. Okay, I'm gonna get my yellow plus green again. Let's try to create some more detailing on the distant mountains. Notice how I just simply apply the paint without really dragging the paintbrush. This is for me to be able to create that natural patterns that we see on the mountains. This area. Okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna turn on the light. I just opened the windows just to be able to, yeah, see my painting. Okay, I'm gonna get my white, and while I still have that greeny color, I'm gonna take advantage of that and highlight even more the distant mountains. I think the challenge here is doing the unevenness of the mountains. I'm gonna add a little more depth. Okay, and now let's go back to doing some light play. Sorry about the canvas just keeps on moving. Sorry about that. All right, let me check. Okay, I'm gonna get my burnt sienna. I'm gonna water it down. I'm gonna apply it quite or very in small amounts, okay, like this. Just a hint of brown on the distant mountains. Here. Right, like that. Okay, I'm adding a little bit more. Okay, I think, yep. So I'm just deleting that. Let me see. All right. Okay, that's much better. Okay. Like that. I'm adding a little bit more of cloud-like brush strokes to suggest more clouds. All right. Okay, more yellow here. Okay. All right. Yes, we just added a little more detail. So I'm gonna get just pure white. And And I really want to go and make some clouds that are clean, just pure white. Okay. Like that. Okay. All right, I think we're done, guys. We're done. So I think I like this even more compared to my earlier version. So I hope you enjoy this one, and I hope you do this one as well. If you like this video, let me know in the comment section below. Tag me on your Facebook or other social media posts. Let me know if you've painted along with me in the past, or you're painting along with me with this one. So see you in my next video, guys. Love you.